Well, hello. I am so excited to be with you all again for another episode number 13 of iRock TV. Yes, where we have real talk about real careers so we can get real results. That's what we're all about here at iRock.tv. I'm so excited to have you here on today because we have a wonderful topic, very sensitive topic, but a topic that we really need to talk about and dig into. Something that's been on my heart for the last couple of years as I was thinking about ways to revamp the show because I love giving tips. I love giving advice on how to rock out your resume, how to rock out your interview, how to advance in your career, and all the things in between. But what I really love to talk about are real issues in corporate America, real issues that happen to career professionals as they move through their career. Because if we're not honest and open about those conversations, we'll never be able to advance. If you are interested in having these conversations with us in a private community, make sure you join my VIP list to be a part of the iRock community. We have these conversations in the break room. You know what happens in the break room when you're in corporate, right? You have all kinds of conversations, and we do too. This last conversation that we had was about diversity, equity, and inclusion, a band aid, ouch, or real results. So we wanted to see what it was about. The conversation went so deep that I was unable to post it in the group because it's private and you have to be there. It's almost like Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And that's what the break room is all about. And it's hosted by iRock and yours truly, Nickquolette Barrett, your Get Higher strategist. If you're interested, I did put the link in the comments to sign up to be a part of these conversations. It's a private community. Only people who are invited to that community are people who are on my VIP email list and my clients. And we talk, deep talk about different issues. May's schedule is out, and today is our monthly huddle where we just debrief and talk about what's going on in our career lives. And I'm sure a lot of conversation is going to happen after this event on today. So again, go to that website I put in the comments and then sign up for the break room. Again, this topic today is very serious. And what we're going to do is talk about it from a perspective of getting results. Yes, we're going to talk about our experience. And if you are watching this and you are part of that story and you know it's you, think about ways that you can do better. You may have done it unintentionally. And no one's trying to beat you up about it or make it this whole session a whipping stick. It's about how do we move forward? How do we bring real results in our own community so we can find solutions and not add to what the already challenges are for our African Americans, our Blacks, our Browns, whatever, in our own community. Sometimes we do the harm to ourselves. And we need to move forward. We need to move past that and see how we can help and not add fuel to the fire. I mean, come on, y'all. We have to do better. And if we really want to make change, we have to shut up and pull up. No more lip service. Shut up and pull up. And what do I mean by that? Stop giving lip service. I want you to think about ways to pull up your African American brothers and sisters through corporate America so we can have more seats at the table and not you be the only voice in the room, the first and only. While that's an honor and a badge to have, we have to go beyond that because the more voices at the table, the more we're heard and the more our results will happen. Again, this is iRock.tv with your host, Nickquolette Barrett, also known as the Get Higher Strategist, where we have real talk about real careers so we can have real results. Right now, I'm going to go to a break and then I'm going to bring on my illustrious guests who have experiences and want to share their nuggets so we can all do better. I'll be right back. And we are back. I want you all to let me know that you're out there, and I always, always, always ask you to share the broadcast with your audience as well. I want you commenting. I want your reaction to what we're going to talk about. I want you to talk about some solutions. And if you have stories to tell, I definitely, definitely want you to put a comment in here because I have a sneaky suspicion that this one episode is not going to be enough. There are some other things that we have in the works to push this conversation even further. So if you're interested and have a story to tell, by all means, sign up for the email list and let me know. Send an email to me at irock@irockresumes. That's with an S.com. Don't forget the S because many people send it to irock resume and they forget the S. All right. So as you see these gorgeous, beautiful bad sisters on this broadcast today. First of all, they fine, y'all. Fine. What's it? FOINE? Fine. Is that how young people say it? I have them on here, and not only are they beautiful, they are intelligent, they are smart, they come with a wealth of experience, knowledge, and they got the paper to back it up. Period. So, before I can introduce them, I know I can do a good job, but I think they could do a better job of introducing themselves. So, I'm going to start off with you, Miss Tammy. Who are you, girl?
Well, hello, everyone. My name, of course, Tammy Chewe. You see that. And I'm a leader, consultant, business owner, and I'm also a volunteer in the community. So I do a lot of different things. I'm a mother of two daughters. Been married for 23 years. So I have done a variety of things. I'm also one who is truly, truly an advocate for developing and helping others, move forward, whether it's their career, whatever it is that they want to do. So I really enjoy supporting people. I've been in corporate America for the last 23 years. And I've been in leadership for probably I would say over 20 years at this point. So I have a lot of experiences, a lot of things I've done, moved around 6 times. So I've been in different places and seen a lot of different things. So I can share.
And what them papers, what those letters you got behind your name, girl?
So also I have a master's degree in organizational leadership and from Chapman University. My bachelor's is from Georgia State University in Public and Urban Affairs. I also have a graduate certificate for nonprofit leadership. So I'm excited about being here and being able to share stories and experiences and hope that you all can gain something from it.
And eventually you're going to be Dr. Chew. You forgot one.
Yes, I am a doctor.
Right. Dr. Chew, expected 2021 or 2022.
Working on a
Yes.
doctorate in education. So to me, education is so important and I value it a lot. And I want to make sure that I continue to be a lifelong learner. So it's a personal goal of mine, so a lot of work, but, it pays off, right?
All right. Well, thank you, Miss Tammy. Now let's go on over to Miss Precious with the letters all behind her name. I don't think that can even fit all of them. Go ahead, Miss Precious. I can't hear you. Uh-oh. Okay. Okay. Well, I'll come back to you. Go ahead, Miss Neoshi.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. Awesome. So, hello, everyone. I'm Neoshi Williams. I have 20 years of corporate experience. 8 of that has been in leadership. I too have an MBA in organizational leadership. I hold the AIC and the CPCU designation. I am a recent founding member of Information, which is a vetted community of high achieving women of color who are ready to challenge and change the way the table is built, which is so befitting for our conversation. I am a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I got to put that out there, right?
Yes, of course.
I also am a mother of 4. I have a bonus baby, 3 boys. I have a wonderful husband who I've been married to going on now 18 years. And I like to look at myself as a servant leader. I am a leader who looks to inspire, transform, encourage, provide support, provide direction to individuals who need that in order to thrive in the workplace. And so I am so excited to be here. Nickquolette, thank you so much for putting us all together for this discussion. And I am just excited. Thank you.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'm glad to have you, Miss Neoshi. All right. Precious, let's hear you, girl.
I'm back. Can you hear me now?
Oh, go ahead, girl.
All
We can
right,
hear you.
got my audio together. Okay.
Yes.
I was about to say these ladies are a tough act to follow, but that's the beauty of it. We come together and we're better together.
Yes.
So I am Precious Norman-Walton. I am the immediate past president of the Dallas chapter of the CPCU Society. I am a co-founder and president of Lovejoy Risk Management Corp. So we offer risk management, and we are a commercial brokerage based here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Also the co-founder and president of Lovejoy Resources, which is a nonprofit which strives to promote the insurance industry as a viable option for both entrepreneurs as well as those who are seeking, a career, path. So we support licensure, continuing education, and professional development. So that's all I do on my day job. So
I love it.
Just like the lovely ladies on this panel, I'm a wife, I'm a mom. My oldest is getting ready to graduate high school in a couple weeks, so super excited about that. My husband and I are getting ready to celebrate our wedding anniversary on the 12th, so we'll be married 9 years this year. Just like everyone who's present and many who are watching, we lead very full lives, but really advocating for, and showing others a path forward is something that I think we all share a passion for, and is really something that, that's the purpose in us coming together today to talk about how we can leverage our individual positions and the things that we have to really, for the benefit of the community.
Well, awesome. These ladies are awesome. And I just want to give you a quick snapshot of who I am. Probably you all haven't heard from me in a while about who the heck is Nickquolette? Who is the Get Hired strategist? But I'm so glad that you asked. I am Nickquolette Barrett. I've been in corporate America for almost 30 years now, and in leadership for 20 years. And I've been in the insurance industry for the majority of my career. And I call myself a dual career person. I'm also the CEO and founder of IROC Development Solutions, LLC, doing business as IROC Resumes. And we will be celebrating our 7th year in business at the end of May. I can't believe it. When you get past 5 years, they say that you are going to be a success, and I am owning that. And in addition to that, I have 3 insurance designations, the AIC, CPCU, COU, and I have 4 career practitioner designations or certifications. I'm a certified career transition coach, certified employment interview professional, certified professional resume writer, as well as a nationally certified online professional expert, which means I help you with your LinkedIn branding as well as job search. And I'm so happy to be an author of 2 books called You're Hired, Volume 1 and Volume 2. You can go out to my website and purchase those either via ebook or paperback, which I will sign and gladly send to you. And I am also what else I was going to say? Oh, yeah. Also won 2 awards in the career industry in 2020. The Pat Schuler's Kick Butt Award for bringing forth the discussion of diversity, equity, and inclusion amongst my career practitioners so we can understand how to position our clients better and truly listen to those of the minority race on how to better position them and get those opportunities in corporate America. And as well, I won the Honorable Mention Award from Career Directors International for my iRock Star interview prep method. Yes, the Rockstar Method works. But I'm so much more than that. I'm also a mother of a 21-year-old, a mama to a Shapoo named Bam Bam. And if you all know me, y'all know I love that little dog. And I say mama because it's my daughter's dog turned mine. So now I just love and spoil him. And I've been married to a senior pastor for almost 27 years come July. So I do wear another hat called First Lady of the Church for all of my African Americans that know. And I've been, yes, a First Lady for 27 years as well. And today, no, I don't have on the hat. But anyway, we're about to get into this conversation. I mean, share this broadcast, get everybody on here. Hey, Matthew. Matthew said, what a panel. Thank you so much. Oh, look at my Brittany. She said, Nickquolette's a boss in all fields. I am so excited. It looks like we lost Tammy, but she'll be back. But I'm so excited to have you all. Hey, Nairobi, thank you so much for being here. I just want to acknowledge you all for being here with us on today. And look at my poo-poo. Look at her. Hey, Poo-Poo. She is in Las Vegas, y'all, celebrating yet another one of her friends turning 21. They're going through that whole thing. So, okay, let's get started. Like I said, this may be a two-part career topic. Okay, so number one, our topic today is Black on Black career crime. Now, people may think, why would you use that topic? Because it's unfortunate that we do have Black on Black crime in our community, right? But when we were talking so deeply the other last week about our experience, 2 weeks ago, about our experiences, I had a brain thought and I said, this is really Black on Black career crime because we don't realize the crime that we have caused, or I don't want to put myself in that because I have not done that. Let me take me out of there. There's no we in that others have caused their own career professional peers in corporate America. So when I talk about that, why do you think it's a shock to even coin this phrase, Black on Black career crime? I want to start with you, Precious.
Thank you. So I think that it's really important that we, take a moment to acknowledge the things that we need to get in order in-house before we can really articulate the support and assistance that we're asking for in terms of allyship and support outside, of our community. I was involved in a conversation a little bit earlier this week, just kind of taking a poll, a consensus with some other professionals in their various capacities, and asked for some feedback on their experience because until we acknowledge that some of these experiences unfortunately are I would go as far as saying universal. There's a lot of gaslighting that happens, when you're isolated and it occurs, and, the typical cycle of you're ashamed, you're wondering if you somehow brought it on yourself, you have this insecurity of talking to others about it because you don't want to be viewed as either a troublemaker or a complainer, and so having these safe spaces where we can really come out and say, yes, it's almost like, the reiteration of Me Too. Right. I have also been, on the receiving end of microaggressions of others that I felt like were positioned in a place where they could have leveraged their influence to help someone else coming through the ranks. But instead, it felt like, we encountered our greatest opposition, from the ones that look the most like us. So until we really kind of get to the root and the core of why that happens, but it starts first with the acknowledgement that it is happening. So the title might be shocking, but it is that self-sabotage. And when I say self, I'm talking about community self, not individual self, that is occurring. And unfortunately, a lot of that is rooted in a scarcity mentality as well as insecurity.
Oh, gosh. Drop the mic. Let's go. Come on, Tammy, weigh in.
You know what? It's funny. I like the way you frame that. One of the things I was listening to this morning, and this, because I was listening to Tyler Perry, and he said, "Don't run from where you came from," And I think that what I've witnessed and seen over the years is that we as African Americans, we tend to run from where we came from. and so we don't, as we move on and we make these, we get into these leadership roles or whatever we aspire to be, we want to be detached from where we were before. And so what happens is that separation, you don't, I mean, the people you go back, those people in the same place, they're in the same situation, so the door is open for you but you didn't leave the door open for the folks that to come behind you. And that's so tough, and you and I think that our community sees that, constantly. And it makes it really, really hard for our people to see above where they are, go places where they've never been, do things because there is nobody reaching back to say, let me bring my brother along, let me bring my sister along. You think about if that even happened in each individual family. So I'm the oldest, second to oldest of 7 children, but I'm the first to graduate high school, go to college, and if I didn't reach back to my sisters and brothers, just my sisters and brothers, and say, hey,
Yes.
go to college or go get a trade, go do something with yourself so that you can, live a prosperous life. But sometimes, because what happens is we move on out of state, whatever, and we forget about our people, even our own family, and it continue to perpetuate that same lifestyle of just living at home with mom or doing nothing, not going to college, not because we're not trying to have supposed to be. And I mean, I see Terrell says, yes, we got to reach back. We're not reaching back. And we just get, and guess what? That same person that goes into corporate America who's doing well, they take that same behavior into corporate America.
Right.
And it's just really, it's just really a sad thing. And I know for myself, I've worked, for different companies. I've worked in Atlanta, and I've seen it, and you even though you're pouring your little heart out and trying to ask for help, coaching, man, maybe I don't speak the same way you speak. Maybe I don't write the same way you write. I may not do. Okay, I'm coachable. Show me. Show me how to get there.
That's so important. Neoshi. Hey, Lisa. Lisa said, glad to catch a brief glimpse of the ladies. Be well. Hey, Lisa. Go ahead, Neoshi. What's your take on this topic?
So I have so many, right? But I agree with everything that both Tammy and Precious have said. But I think about the topic itself and one of the things, why it's not a popular topic, right? Why it's not something you ever really hear us talking about really is because as African Americans, we are taught, right? What goes on in our house stays in our house, right? We're taught that. And so when you think about this particular topic, we are, especially those of us who really rally behind one another and do what Tammy mentioned, that pulling back to one another, those of us who really want to see one another excel, we never want that sister or that brother who we know is not paving the way or reaching back. We never want them to look bad. We never want them to be felt as if they don't have our support because we're supporting, right? We want to see each other thrive. But I think the topic is so timing and it's so appropriate because we have to clean up our own house first before we can look to our Caucasian peers and ask them for their allyship and their support. If we are not doing it ourselves, how can I ask you to support me when I don't even look like you? And those who I look like don't support me. And to Tammy's point, we are so dismissive of each other so quickly. Our expectations of one another is so high, oftentimes unimaginably high, whereas the Caucasian peer can come along and they can have that, I'm sorry, we're having this conversation, right? A sense
it's
of
a real
entitlement,
conversation,
right?
Yes.
They can have the sense of entitlement, ask, request for what they want as if they're deserving of it. But the minute one of us do something to our own people who look like us, who have those, elevated roles, what have you, or sitting, in those higher seats within the organization, we are very dismissive. We're quick to turn our backs on each other. And Tammy, kind of alluded to that. We do not give each other an opportunity to do better or to help, right? We're just quick to say, okay, you know what? I'm done with you. Or you know what? And sometimes, and I don't want to jump ahead, but sometimes it makes us, right, sit back and say, are you okay with the situation? And I know we kind of talked about this when we were all together, is it makes me think of it's a slave mentality that we still have. Master let me in the house, you still in the field. You continue to work in the field, well, I'm going to get to be in the house. I get to sit by master. Master like me. Master don't like you. So you stay where you are. We got to break it. We have to.
Now, I've seen where, again, slightly playing the devil's advocate, right, where I've spoken to people and they have felt that it's almost like a tough love, right? It wasn't given to me. If I make it too easy for you, you're not going to build up the stamina that you're going to need to survive and thrive in the room if I get you in here, right? And so sometimes, but we have to be careful with that because, that's where hurt perpetuates hurt. Just because you were the trailblazer, it was your responsibility to go forth and clear the brush so that now whoever's coming behind you isn't getting caught up in all of the same obstacles. Some of this stuff, it's ridiculous that in 2021 we are still wrestling with, and we're not making net gains in this direction because we're spending all of this, energy with some of the infighting, that's happening. And, to, the point that was made earlier, so I'll take a slight tangent and come back. So I'm a proud daughter of a retired Air Force veteran. My father served in Vietnam. My mother is from Thailand. Okay. And so it's in the last couple of years that this whole, the Thai Laotian cuisine has been presented together. So I found out in recent years that my mother, her citizenship is from Thailand, but we're ethnically Lao. Okay. And so the reason Lao cuisine wasn't really put out there is because it was looked at as kind of the humbler, cousin of Thai cuisine, right? So when Thai cuisine kind of hit the scene and it was the chic thing to do and everyone was into it, the other side of it. And so oftentimes I think the hesitation is if I open up the door and if I let too many of us in, are they going to embarrass me?
And you know what? And then they become judge and jury, the other devil's advocate. Who are you to become the judge and jury to hold that door ever so slightly open and close it quickly with your foot when you feel that person has done something? We already have to work, twice as hard to get to where we are. But I don't know about you all, but I feel that we have to work 3 times as hard if we know there's a leader above us who is holding the key to open up the door. How do you feel about that?
If I can comment, though, before we go there, to what Precious brought up. Perfect point, right? You're right. We are worried sometimes. Okay, if I bring you along, you may embarrass me. Bring you along, you may not. To Nickquolette's point, you may not get the results. But honey, what happened to the side conversation?
I pulled a couple of coattails.
You understand?
Yes.
What happened to the coaching, like Tammy talked about? What happened to let me give you the tools and equip you so that when you go in here, you're prepared.
Absolutely.
You're ready. So you listen. What your mom used to tell you when you go in the store. Before you go in this store, don't you touch nothing.
Don't you touch it. Don't you
touch anything, right? Don't you look at nothing. Don't you touch nothing. And don't you ask me to buy nothing. You got that conversation.
Before.
right? Have the same conversation. When you go to somebody's house, what your mama tell you? Don't you ask for nothing to eat. Right?
I'm
Right?
already paid you.
Exactly. So it's the same type conversation that if I pull my sister or my brother along, I'm going, and I've done it. I've done it myself.
Yeah.
Let's have this conversation, sis, bro. Let me help you with the tools and give you what you need so that when you go in here, because guess what? You're a representation of me and I'm a representation of you. And so I want to see you succeed. And here's how I'm going to make sure you succeed.
And I love that you talked about pulling that coattail, because I had to do that for a young lady who was looking to get into leadership. But I was in the room and the conversation came up about her attendance, reliability, not being dependable, because the person had the skill set, but there was a little thing that person had to fix. And so I said, oh, okay, mental note. Soon as that person came back to work, I pulled that person's coattail, say, I need to talk to you. And I pulled that person's coattail, had the tough conversation, told them to get up their end, and then let's start working to get you where you need to be. And that person did. And that person's been in leadership now for maybe 3 or 4 years.
Well,
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Someone's about to say something. I'm sorry.
I'm about to say something. It brings some, when you say that, Nickquolette, it makes me think about this saying, become the hero to each other. Stop looking for heroes outside of each other. So,
oh, wow.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Because
wow.
often looks for validation from who, right? We need to be the heroes to each other. Think about what you just did. You talked about and how you pulled that sister aside and had that conversation with her.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've pulled young women in organizations I've worked for and had that conversation with them. You can't say, you can't do that. You at work. This is not the club. You give them that real talk, right?
Yes.
You create the table for us.
Oh, yes.
When you do that, because it's okay, let's sit at our table and let's have a real conversation about your behavior and let's talk. I had a manager call me and an employee wanted to be involved in a D&I, and she talked about her writing and just going on and on. So my question was, so have you had a conversation with her? You didn't select her. So I say my question is, now here I'm an African American. This person was not an African American. And my question was, what did you do? What did you do with the information? How did you? I said, because I say I agree with you. The writing is not good. What are you gonna do about it? How are you gonna help her?
Yeah. Yeah.
So come to me and give me this bad news about this person, and I'm gonna send you back because you're failing her. Now I don't mind having a conversation, but you just talking to me and you haven't talked to her doesn't do her any good. So it's just, and I ended up having a conversation with this person. I've been helping, got promoted. See, that's what we got to be each other's heroes. Think about that. That is huge. So we don't look for validation from somebody who don't know us, don't know our story, our struggle. They don't know that. They don't know what you're struggling with. So if we can, then you start creating our own table.
Yep.
Our folks start.
That's it.
First thing I want to do is they come look for their sister, their brother. Help me. That's what we're looking to create, our own table, a table that we don't have anybody else telling us what to do, but our own sisters and brothers are sitting there and saying, hey, this is how you need to do this. This is how you need to handle this. That is so important. We don't have tables of our own. I
Yeah.
don't mind
But I think
sitting at
it's
somebody else's table.
Mm-hmm.
But what
Yep.
about creating a table for ourselves? We can
Oh,
create our
that's gonna be a good one. Good. Oh, okay. Go ahead. I got it. Go ahead, Precious.
I think it's really important that, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
as we're sitting at these tables, as we're having the conversations, that we have to be vulnerable enough and transparent enough not to gloss over the struggle and not to
Yeah.
just show the highlight reel. Because then the ones that are on this journey, when they encounter
Mm-hmm.
this stuff, it's
Mm-hmm.
easy for them to get discouraged. But if someone can relate, it's really difficult to
Mm-hmm.
emulate something that you've never seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so as we tell our stories and we share, where we stumbled, where we maybe, fallen or failed, excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
that's got to be a part of that conversation too. Not just the look at the things that I've done, get on
Yes.
my level. It's got to be, let me show you, how to walk it out.
Okay, now we're gonna go there because my whole thing about that, let's create our own table. It's about making sure that more of our voices are at that table, so that if something happens where your person is about to get demoted or fired or something like that, but if you have more of our voices at the table, don't you know we can be a safeguard to make sure that doesn't happen? So creating our own table, Tammy. Oh, to your point, we have to do that. The way we can get more of our voices at that table is when
Mhm.
we shut up and we pull up, and then we coach up. We help them instead of dismissing them. And again, like I said before, stop only wanting to be the only one in the room. So we on the bottom rung can look up to you. Glory. I'm tired of that. No, we all can do this together. But I need now, because this is about us. When I talk about real that kind of stuff, I need to know Gibby, and I want you all to be vulnerable and talk about the situation that happened to you. And not only the situation that happened to you, what would you, if you were to give that person advice on how to handle that situation in the future, what would it be?
So
Anybody? Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna jump in there.
Mm-hmm.
I got to talk about the table just real quick because I feel like
Go ahead.
we have this
Mm-hmm.
platform that I need to relay this message to those out there. I don't want your seat that you have at the table. Okay,
Girl, you just hit me.
right?
Oh,
I don't want your
that's
seat. But guess what, sister bro? Can we sit together? Because guess what I'm doing? I'm pulling up a seat for you. In fact, your seat waiting for you. How about that? Because I'm training you, I'm coaching you, I'm helping you, I'm giving you the tools that you need so you can sit at the table with me. And guess what? I'm okay if you get to the higher table.
Yeah.
Because guess what? You pull back,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
And that's how we as African
I love
Americans get ahead, and we can really see more of us sitting at the C-suite, more of us sitting at those leadership and higher upper leadership roles. I have always wondered, before I go to your other part, Nickquolette, where all these women, Black women, right? It's not many of us. Let's be frank. It's not many of us, but there are some of us that got a seat at the table. Good.
Yes.
What you doing? Who you pulling? Who you coaching? You know what I mean? Look, Shirley Chisholm said
The
they
ones
don't
who
give you a
already
seat.
get automatic sponsors. Those who
You
already can get
understand?
sponsors from somebody else.
Right?
Mhm.
And so Shirley Chisholm said, if they don't have a seat for you, bring your own seat. My thing is, save me a seat.
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't want yours. And I think, unfortunately, we as Black women, and I'm gonna deal with us as Black women, we can sometimes be very jealous hearted. We can be sometimes very easily intimidated by one another because you come along and may be a little stronger than me or have a little bit more confidence than I. But guess what, ladies? We grow by coming together as women. We got the same struggles. If not, your struggles different than my struggles, right? Or I can help you and you can help me. But that's the only way we're going to see the dynamics change. And now, Nickquolette, I don't forget what your other question was. You said talk about your own experience.
Yo, now I want to come. Let's go. Now we talked about it from a philosophical, what we've seen. Now I need to talk about you. What happened to you? Because we all have personal experiences. And you all who are watching, again, this is iRock.tv. Our topic today is Black on Black career crime. What happens in corporate America that nobody wants to talk about when it's blacks doing these things to other blacks? Go ahead and sign up for my email list because I have something else coming up. If you have a story to tell that's similar to this, I want to talk to you. In the comments, it's the Send Fox information where we have the break room where these type of conversations go even deeper to the point that we can't even post them. So get on that list. Go ahead.
Okay, so
Mm,
I'll say this. My own experience, and I've had more than one. I've had
mhm,
several.
mhm,
And in each experience that I've experienced,
mhm,
where I did not get either that support or a situation didn't go the way I wanted it to go for my own
mhm,
personal growth
mhm,
and development as a leader, I
mhm,
will tell you guys, I think that that is the hurt that
mm.
I've never that it's a different type of hurt when your
I say this,
Caucasian
yeah.
peers don't
Mhm.
support you because it's just like it is what it is, right? Or those encounters
We're so
don't go
used
so
to it.
well,
Yeah, we used
right?
to it. Yeah,
You
we
brush
used to
those
it.
off, but when it is us,
Ooh,
it is a it almost is like I need some tissue because I'm about to cry, right? It's like you're like,
mhm,
oh my God, like did this just happen? Or oh my God, did you really just do that or say that or whatever the case may be? And each time that it has happened, it has been just I call it just it's black on black career crime. It's a crime that you've
mhm.
become the victim to. That you feel like at some point you need the detectives to come in and do some investigation
Yes.
and figure it out. If anybody knows
Mhm.
me who's watching me know I love the first 48. It's almost like one of those where I need the crime scene
Bring them
investigators
in.
to
Bring them
come
in.
in
Let's add.
and kind of figure it
Mhm.
out and determine what just happened. And I'm going to say that we as people, when we do that to each other, it develops in us where you feel like I'm danged if I do, danged if I don't.
Mhm.
It's like if I
Mhm.
can't with my own, who can I? Right? If this is the
Mhm.
experience I get from my own, then what are we left to do? We gotta do better. And I'm gonna talk in general terms from my own experience. But it hurts. It
Yes,
hurts,
I
and
know.
you're in a recuperation process of where you almost feel like you need some therapy.
I mean, you're right. I mean, girl, I mean, it's the truth because even when I hear it, I want to cry, and it's not even my situation. I understand. Go ahead. So go ahead, talk. So what would you so do you want to go into one of your situations? I hate to say that because it's we shouldn't
I can
have that many.
share something.
I can speak
Uh,
to one, but go ahead, Tammy.
Go
yeah,
ahead.
I can
Mm-hmm.
share a situation. I was in a
Mm-hmm.
situation where my leader, who
Mm-hmm.
was an African American woman, very smart, um, you know, just did, I mean, initially she was very helpful, helped me, get my job and everything. And I ended up working for her. But once I got an opportunity to work for her, she did something really bad. And what it was is we were on a phone call together. It was the three of us, and three of us because she was my boss. So I had one of my employees was doing some work for her, and who was not of color, and she literally, I mean, she talked to her so bad on the phone. It was awful, awful. And in my mind, right is right no matter who it is. And
Mm-hmm.
I was, I was so, I was in tears for the employee. I mean, I actually called the employee back and said, "Are you okay?" Because I knew she had to drive home. And she said, "I'm gonna be okay." I said, I said, "I know that was really rough for you." I said, "So, but it was bad. It was just really bad." So, I I got up from my desk and walked into another manager's office, and I started tears was coming out. I couldn't control it because I was so. I think it was more of anger and
Mm-hmm.
disappointment.
Yeah.
Because I felt like, you're my leader. I have so high expectations of you. You're African American woman. I'm looking up to you. I want to learn from you and all that. And you get on the phone in a meeting, us three, and you just literally talk to this woman like, I mean, just very condescending. Why didn't you do this? And I mean, it was just really rough. So the manager, I went in his office, he's like, and I explained it to him. He said, and he wasn't of color. And he said, Tammy, I need you to pull yourself together. He said, because you're going to need to go in and talk to your
Have
boss
that conversation.
and have that conversation. And I said, okay. And I pulled myself together. He said, he gave me some coaching. He said, I need you to go in there and you need to ask her, how did you think the meeting went? And get her side of it. And then you can share your side of it. And I'm be honest with you guys. I'm not a that was the hardest thing I think I've ever had to do in my career, because I was nervous, but I knew I had to say something because it just wasn't right. And I knew as her direct report, I mean, how do I manage that? And why would you even put me in that situation? You know, I went in there and had that conversation with her. I kid you, you thought I threw daggers at her. And all I was trying to do is give her feedback, right? And just help her understand, because she thought the meeting went well. Lo and behold, lo and behold, now this woman don't speak to me today, okay? But from that point on, she made my life complete hell. I mean, she was rough. She made it was to a point I would come home to my husband and I would say to him, I can't do it no more. And he said, "No, you're going back in there and you're going to keep your job and you're going to fight." I even went to another lady that this person knew, a mutual friend, who sat me down and she said, I want you to dry them tears up. It was another sister. And she said, you're going to keep your job and you're going to deal with her, and not let her treat you in a kind of way. And I mean, it was rough. It was really, really rough. And I'm like, all because I gave her a little feedback about herself, her attitude, and how she how did she talk to an employee, and
And
that's
was that
it.
employee African American?
No, wasn't even African
Mm.
American.
Mm. But she didn't like it, and so therefore she
So
began
I
to
felt front of that.
abuse you on the job by her
Abuse
actions.
by exactly. So
Mm.
anything that I wanted to do or tried to do was pretty much, it wasn't going to happen.
Shot down.
Mm-hmm.
The crime.
Mm-hmm.
The crime.
Mm.
I mean, it was sad, and I'm like, really.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
and I think I've said this to you, Nickquolette. I mean, because I'm a very honest person,
Mm-hmm.
and and I said, being honest and straightforward, and giving honest feedback. I mean, I just it's sad though. It's sad that
Mm-hmm.
we treat each other that way, and we
Mm-hmm.
take things in that way, in a way that we feel like we have to come back and be.
Sabotage someone's career and not understand that this is from a perspective of this is one leader to a leader, no matter the level, leader to leader, and how you have to now manage that employee after this conversation and also manage your relationship with your boss who happens to be of the same race.
Right.
That's hard. That's hard to have to do.
So
And
think
so,
about
but the
African,
retaliation,
Mm.
2 African American women on a call with her
leaders.
and
Mm-hmm.
my leader. I mean, it was almost, it was toxic. It was very
Mm,
toxic.
mm,
It was very toxic. So that is something. I mean, if I had to do it again, I'd do it the same way. But
mm-hmm.
I couldn't sleep. You know, it was,
Mm-hmm.
I had to do what I needed to do.
Mm-hmm. Precious, what you got?
Whew. You know, when you listen to these stories, it's triggering.
Yeah.
That's the only word that I have for it, you know. And I was kind of sorting through and I'm like, okay, oh, what am I going to pull from? So a
Mm,
couple years ago, I worked in an organization at a director level. So I had the managers reported to me and then they had direct
mm-hmm.
reports. And so
Mm-hmm.
I hired a lady, a Black woman. When she interviewed, she was very, complimentary. She wanted to learn from me. She wanted me to mentor her. I was super excited to have her on board. She was the only woman of color that I had as a
Mm-hmm.
direct report for me,
Mm-hmm.
that, is one of my supervisors that worked for me. And I was super excited to have her on. So a
Mm-hmm.
couple weeks into the role, her team, there were about 10 direct reports, and it was a mixed group, right? And so in her team, there were 3 Black women that reported to her. And so at some point, I don't remember what the trigger of it was. I think we had rearranged the seating arrangement. So
Mm-hmm.
2 of the ladies that reported to her approached me and they said, we need to be transferred. We need another supervisor. So I'm confused. I'm thinking, if anything, you guys would be excited, to have someone, that you work with that's going to potentially groom you and mentor you and, help you grow. And they said, Precious, she speaks to us so poorly. And I'm like, I don't see that engagement with her and anyone else on her team. And I'm like, can you be a little bit more specific with me? What do you mean speaks to you poorly? She has used words with us like, we're lazy. We need to, if we really want to grow, we need to be more coachable. And, not even just on a professional level, but just personally, she has additional requirements of us. Like, we need to check in with her when we go on bathroom breaks. It was just like a lot, but it was only inflicted on these 2 Black women that reported to her. And so initially, of course, immediately I felt guilty. I was like, did I subject you guys to that? I brought
Oh my
someone
God.
in
Right.
because I wanted
Oh
her
my
to be
goodness.
a coach,
Mm-hmm.
a tool for you guys to
Mm-hmm.
grow. And it's at her hands that she's, inflicting this, this abuse on these employees. Director of Human Resources, which, by the way, other than myself, was the only Black woman in senior leadership with this company. Okay. And so I
Mm-hmm.
pull it to the side and I'm like, we need to talk. Like, I have an issue
Mm-hmm.
here because the things that I'm hearing, and I've gotten witnesses of other people on the floor who've overheard these conversations, and we need to do something. And she basically kind of looked at me and told me that if I moved forward with basically taking down another Black woman in leadership, that it was going to like close this door and prevent the company. The
Yeah.
company would always have a hesitation of doing
All
it.
those things we have to figure out. Oh.
And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm torn, right? And then she goes a step further and she says, well, Precious, you're kind of new to the company. The 2 employees that you're referring to, we've had history with them before. And so long story short, their testimony may not be credible, right? And so at this point,
Okay, sorry. Black
I'm
on Black
thinking to
career
myself,
crime
come on
also
now,
from
because
them
you know
too.
good
Yep.
and well that if 2 of their, stellar golden employees that looked a
Mm-hmm.
different way would have made that kind of complaint against this lady, there would have been no hesitation of,
Nope.
well, are you taking out another
Swiftly.
sister? There would have been no, we don't know if we believe them or not. It would have just been a thing. So all of a sudden my
Mm-hmm.
hands are tied, right? Because they're like, well, do you really want to go forward with this? Because A, you hired her. And so it's
Yeah.
going to look like you kind of, again, had bad judgment in doing so. But it goes back to, again, that responsibility as leadership that you have for your entire, the direct reports of the direct reports. I'm like, I can't in good confidence. And that's how we ended up resolving it. I told HR, I don't care the optics are. We have to do what we need to do. Because
Mm-hmm.
how can they come directly to me and basically are asking for the protocol to file an official complaint, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to dismiss them and explain that to them how?
Yeah.
Well, you're Black, we don't believe you. A Black woman couldn't
Yeah.
treat a Black woman poorly.
Like
So
what?
all of these layers of complication where you're like,
Ah,
because here's the thing, black, white, and different, like, unacceptable is unacceptable, right?
period.
Great is
Mhm.
great and unacceptable is unacceptable. And so I said, okay, if HR doesn't want to help, like, we're going to have that talk.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
I had to pull her in and I had to tell her in not so eloquent terms, if I catch you involved in this sort of behavior, it's me and you.
Mm-hmm.
I take issue with this. I take
Mm-hmm.
specific issue in you feeling like you can get away with abusing someone because you know that their voice isn't going to be honored and
Woo.
recognized.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
we didn't go down that path too much longer. But again, the thought that
I can imagine. I know you, Precious.
again,
Yes.
the pain, the
Mhm.
hurt was inflicted by
Mhm.
the one that I thought I was bringing in to help lift up.
Right.
So yeah, so much of that, and it's not a one-off. That happens much more than we talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna bring up. So I've had several, as I mentioned before, but the one that comes to mind, and I'm going to flip it a little bit, not so much as what happened to me myself personally, but I'm going to talk about an employee that I had that reported to me. And so I remember, and I'm going to make it quick because I know our timing. But I had an employee who was new. It was when I was new to leadership, African American. And when I came on board, I had all the leaders. And as you guys know how leaders do, they'll tell you all this about the employee reporting to you. So I'm getting all this negativity about this young African American young lady. And she would, if she associated herself with, Caucasian peers and they were being negative, I found she was always the one who they would say was being negative. She's too loud. There's just all this negative stuff. And mind you, I'm new to leadership. But at the same time, I knew my role in getting into leadership. I wanted to help not just my people, but help people, right? And so I said, okay, something is going on here. I pulled her in my office, closed this when we had doors. I closed my door. And I said, sit down, sis. I said, you and I are about to have a conversation. And I preface it this way. I said, and I will tell you right now, if you ever say we had this conversation,
I'm going to deny it.
I'm going to deny we had this conversation.
Too. I'm act like I don't know what you're talking about.
But let me tell you what your brand is. Let me tell you what is being said about you. I said, and I know that you don't want that, and I don't believe you even know this. So let me tell you what the conversation is and what's being said about you from a leadership perspective. And let me tell you what you and I are going to work on. We're going to change that brand. We're going to change that narrative. And when I tell you today, that young lady is thriving, that whole narrative changed. So every time when we were in performance conversation, and you guys know how I go, they bringing up stuff from 2 years ago. And I would, oh shoot, I hit my thing too hard. Every time nope, that's not her no more. Nope.
Don't bring it up. I love it.
Don't bring it up no more. That's
last year.
That's last year. That's 2 years ago. Here is where she is now. Here is what she's doing. And now she is just excelling. And I always tell her my little blossom story. And now what's interesting, she's my friend now. So I tease her and tell her, you can never, ever in life work for me ever again. But it was that having that conversation, wanting to see her excel and do better, but having an honest conversation. And that's really what we have to learn to start doing.
So let me ask you all this. These are all powerful stories. Now let's go to the other issue. I've had this occur, and it was actually brought to me. And how do you respond when you are told, I cannot promote you because I don't want to be accused of promoting only my kind? How do you accept that? How do you respond to that? How do you move forward from that? Yes, I will repeat it again. I'm sorry, but you're qualified and everything, and I know you've been wanting to get in this position, but I don't want to make it seem like I'm only promoting my kind, so I'm not going to give you the job. I just want to let you know before the announcement came out.
So I gotta jump in right here. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm jumping in for one reason. The first reason is because I myself have been pulled into HR for that reason. And so I want to put something out there to our Caucasian people that's watching. You all support one another all the time.
Yes.
Stop it. Stop it when you see someone African American being supported by another African American. Let's put that out there, right? Stop that, because we don't go complaining that y'all get supported all the time. Y'all get all the projects, all the everything else, or whatever you want to name it. So stop that. But to that point, I think that's also a sorry excuse.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I myself have had HR pull my coattail, bring me in, because that was what some of the Caucasian people on my team felt, that I was supporting only the African Americans. And so to that, I'm not doing anything wrong. If the person has the skill set, my job is to develop, I'm developing.
Yeah.
Period.
Yes.
So are so to that point, I think that's an excuse. But if we want to talk about the corporate game, right?
Corporate game.
If we want to talk about the corporate game, then this is what you do. And I've shared this with you guys before, and we laughed about it. I'm going to say it again. So what you do, when we having frank conversations, you go get you one Caucasian person that you can promote or develop, and you get you one African American. And what you do is you push your African American, and I'm being frank because they do it, you push your African American person a little bit more. And so to me, to tell me you can't promote me because you're worried about what someone else is going to say, or you're worried about, what well, guess what? If I'm coming with the qualifications, then sister bro, buckle down and you fight for me. Period.
Right. Period.
That's all it is. With a T at the end. So PERIODT. Period.
Period.
But that's part of the problem for us as African Americans, because we're always looking for validation from the, and that's why I brought up the table and having our own, because and being our own heroes, because we always looking to please, validate, whatever it is, those outside of our outside of us, and that's part of the problem. That's that slave mentality, right? Because when we see stuff happening, we see things go on, we have that stoic look on our face, we keep on walking,
keep on like we don't see it.
I'm staying out of it. I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? And those who are in those positions of power and can influence and do something about it, if you're sitting there watching and you're not doing anything, you're part of the problem. And that includes African Americans.
Yes.
Now,
exactly.
The root of the question that you posed was that I can't do my job because I'm afraid that the optics are going to look. So my initial feedback, if that was said to me, is that sounds like you have an issue with whomever you report to, that they would question your judgment. So that's all about your relationship with them and nothing about me. So let's go ahead and say that. Because if I'm qualified, and if you need assistance articulating why I'm qualified to whomever because you feel like your judgment is going to be questioned in making the decision, then, again, that sounds like you've got some things in your hierarchy that you need to square away. But I'm over taking on other people's problems and making them mine. Because if someone has an issue with their role, with their job and the things that they need to do, that is not a reflection on me. If you don't know how to explain to them that I'm well qualified, because let's be honest about it. In most of these situations, not only are we well qualified, but typically we're overqualified for the roles that we are vying for. And it's because we carry this hesitation to, there may be 10 requirements on paper, and, historically, unless we're coming in 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, we won't even raise our hand. Where some of our peers, they can go in 50-50.
Let me just roll the dice.
you know, and still stick the landing, right? You know, but we have that hesitation that they're going to find that 1 out of 10 that we didn't have, and they're going to like
find a reason,
like shame us with it. Why would you even have said this when you know that you've got 5 years and we asked for 7? You're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I was hoping you wouldn't. And so we, as women, as African Americans, we tend to take things on that we can't. Our shoulders are broad enough. We already carry enough. I'm not even going to hold that one for you.
And you know what?
Go ahead.
Wait, I'm sorry. I was just going to say real quick, Precious. Even to that same point, right? And so you are. And Nickquolette, you made me forget my thought, but it was hold on. This one, you know, you getting when you be like, wait a minute, what was I gonna say? Remember your mom used to do that? What
what was I doing? Why am I in this
kitchen? But what I was trying to say, the credentials. So we come to the table, right, or to to whatever we're talking about here, right? The whatever it is, overqualified.
Always.
But yet our other peers, right? And I don't want to. I'm trying to use my words gentle, so I'll make sure I say, you know, I don't want to be offensive to anybody that's watching.
Right.
But they can come, can't lead a horse to drink no water. And I can bring the whole cattle, the whole farm, the chickens, everything. And they all going to do what I need them to do because of my influence. Stop laughing at me, Precious.
Yeah, it's the truth.
But yet they landed, like Precious said. They landed. But yet I come overqualified and have all the skill sets that you need and over and above, but can't.
And there's no voice in the room to even make sure they're tooting your horn, or they're too shameful to do it.
And then let's not talk about the fact that I'm going to end up having to support your hire. The person that you put in place that wasn't qualified when it should have been me. And now my role is going to be subordinate to this person because I don't have the look, or because I don't have, you know, some sort of quality that, let's be honest, is not even something I can train for. Right. Because if you know, again, if there's something specific and back to the whole supporting, how many times do we promote alumni from the same university, someone who used to work with this company with me, you know, as, you know, senior leadership, oftentimes, especially when the C-suite flips, they already have their team picked out that they plan to roll from wherever they came from, you know, and so oftentimes when there's a posting, it's just a formality.
That's it.
They have absolutely no intention of vetting whoever applies because they just have to go through this process and then pull in someone out of the left field and stick them in there. And it's like, if that's what you had in mind to do, I wish I'd have known.
I wouldn't have wasted my time.
I wouldn't have got my hopes up for it.
Right.
Yeah, but, you know, I hear that and I see that like, oh, well, we don't want it. No, there's certain policies on paper that, granted, I understand nepotism is one of them. Right. And that's why corporate America, we have policies in place where you can't have someone directly report to you, or like you mentioned before, you know, we kind of have to recuse yourself almost because you have too intimate of a relationship with someone, you know, like, hey, you know, it's gotten to the point where maybe, you know, they need to go to another department. So there are verifiable things on paper, but this whole nonsense about the optics of Blacks supporting Blacks is going to go over poorly. Show that to me in the manual.
And this individual actually went to a Caucasian male in the same role and told the story. And that person was shocked and floored and was wondering, why could that person even think that would be a possibility? And it tells me, okay, is it the corporate culture that makes you fearful to own your own race who are overqualified already for the role? Or is it something that you don't want to move your purse?
I think you don't want to move your purse.
Yeah.
And I've shared that. I think you are, and we've talked about this. I think you have some of us that are happy that you're the only one. It's a sense of entitlement, and that I've made it. I made it and you didn't. I got here, you didn't. Yep.
Yep. And that's, you know, and those are the things that really get this. Here's Matthew. Matthew said, I mentioned this in a private conversation with President 2019, but it is fitting here. Okay. I told her that if I was ever in a role where it became news to me that I was selected over an equally qualified candidate simply because of my skin color versus theirs, I'd resign my position faster than you can blink. That is not the type of company I want to be a part of. And I know you, Matthew. I know that for a fact. I know you would do that. But this is what this whole conversation about Black on Black career crime is all about, how we already, as an African American race, have to fight so hard to get into those positions. And then to be blocked by your own race hurts even more. I think someone said it's like that knife that goes at too close and it hurts even worse. It does, because you're asking, like, why do you want to be the only one? Why can't you go to battle for me? Why can't you put your voice out there? Because though there are a lot of leaders who I can tell they have not supported hardly anybody, if anyone, that look like them, because they love being the person over. I've even seen African Americans have all Caucasian teams beneath them just so they can have bragging rights that they lead a team full of Caucasians. I have seen Caucasians slide somebody into a position, a higher level position, where you have to be 18 to 36 months developed or ready now. Those know that language, know what I'm talking about. And you have to jump through all these hoops only to be told that new person, they're learning on the job. Give them a chance. But you told me I had to do a cartwheel, flip, backflip, stand on top of Mount Everest, and all of this kind of stuff before.
Don't forget about giving one of your kids.
Oh yeah. Give me one of your kidneys and everything before I have to be ready to lead leaders. But this person over here, because you gave them a 30-day development opportunity and you just slid that person in. Oh, they learning. No, they not supposed to learn on the job. But then we turn around and then we have it done for ourselves. So how could we ever have our voices at the table if those in leadership, those positions of influence, don't shut up but then pull up? How can we get them to shut up and pull up? I need you all to give me a 30-second advice before we end this. And like I said, I didn't even get to even over half of the questions. And again, you all are watching iRock.tv. This is Black on Black career crime, having a sensitive yet tough conversation that we need to have in our community. If you want more conversations like this, please join the break room. Get on my email list. We have tougher conversations about all kinds of things. We talk about even time management stuff too. We talk about all kinds of things, real good conversations. But we want to continue the conversation, continue to move forward. So if you have a story that you want to tell, I'm working on something else. And if you want to be a part of that, email me at irock@irockresumes.com. Okay, ladies. So now that we're going to wrap this sensitive conversation up, I need you all to tell me between 30 and 60 seconds, how can we push this topic forward? How can we advance this topic such that we can get some solutions?
Well, I'll go first. I think we have to model the behavior we want to see in others. When we learn, we teach, and we can continue that conversation outside of this setting. Meaning, when I get off this set right here, I need to take this conversation further and just continue that conversation with people in my circle. I'm part of the Links organization. I'm part of Jack and Jill organization. How do I bring that conversation there? Because many of those women are executives, and we got it. When we learn, we teach. We have to continue to teach and bring that message forward and continue to pass those learnings on so that people can understand what is happening and how it's impacting the African American community.
Thank you, Tammy.
I'll go next. We have to normalize Black excellence. We really do. We need to understand that we have strength in numbers, and that the more you can use your spotlight and spread it out, then we become less of an anomaly. We're not a one-off. I'm not a unicorn. Because ideally, the more of us are present, the more of us that are thriving and excelling, then it just becomes, again, it's not a novelty anymore. And so it's not, I want to be regarded as a professional in my field, not always a Black professional in my field, but there has to be more of us there so I don't stick out as much. And so we have to advocate for one another. The only way that we're going to have more people to share this spotlight is if we are actively taking a role. So we as leadership, as those of us who've, achieved a certain level, we have to do some introspection and ask ourselves, what am I doing daily to walk this out? Who have I supported? Who have I encouraged? Who is it that I'm pulling through, the ranks right now so that we can show up in force?
Thank you, Precious. Neoshi.
So I agree with everything that Tammy and Precious said. I think aside from the modeling the behavior and being the voice for each other, we also have to have the leadership courage and forget just leadership courage to be able to, when it happens to one of us, or when we recognize the bro is not supporting someone that looks like us, or when we ourselves experience with those that look like us, being able to have that for real conversation and recognizing that, the person you're having the conversation, be prepared for the defensive, right? But to recognize that if we're talking about these D&I efforts that we have amongst these companies, recognizing that starts with us first, right? Yeah. And being able to say that to each other, that here is what has to be done. And when you recognize it, when you recognize that's not what's happening, being able to pull each other's coattails. So as you said, Nickquolette, we got to pull up or shut up, right? And so in order for us to be able to ask others to support us and to be an ally, we got to be our own allies. We got to support each other. We got to be able to erase the mentality that has been ingrained in us for so many years that we have to shift in order to see results and to get the true results that we're looking for. Because guess what? If you're strong, sis, I'm strong. I got your back, you got my back. And that is how I even think from all these other movements that we have out here. That's the only way we're going to get better, is to love on one another and be real and be our own allies.
And that is so powerful, because I had a conversation yesterday from another sister when I was telling her to make sure that she watched this episode. She said, yeah, because we're not each other allies. We'll tear each other down and hold the seat, pull the seat close up to the table so nobody get in. We'll close the door. We'll do all of these things instead of supporting one another. And I'm so thankful that I have the privilege and the honor to have you all on this platform. It means a lot for you all to come on this journey with me, to have this conversation, something that's been burning in me for years. Even when I told myself, I'm done with the corporate game. I'm done with that. I'm going to go ahead. You can't tell me I can't lead leaders. That's okay. I'll build a company from the ground up and I'll become my own CEO. I got tired of all of that. So I want others to know you do have options out there. And those of you who are perpetuating this Black on Black career crime, you just need to stop it. Take a self-reflection and say, what did I do? Did I intentionally do this? And if so, why did I do it? Or if not, let me get myself together. Now, I haven't watched the Tyler Perry thing that Tammy was telling me about. She sent the video to me. We're going to put it in the link in there, because I heard he had a similar conversation about leaving the door open to bring others in. Stop wanting to wear the badge. I'm the only one. I'm the only one in the room. Yes, only one of us, only two of us. Well, that's a shame on you, because that goes to your legacy. You need to bring more along. And what Stacey said, that's where I am, starting my own HR services company, because you get to the point, no more. Precious did the same thing. Take your talent and do something else. Be an agent of change is what Matthew said. So I thank you, ladies, for going on this journey with me. This is going to turn into something very powerful. I'm glad we got the conversation started, and that Black on Black career crime. Everybody who's listening to this and watching this is a viewer supported show. Go to iRock, go to Buy Me a Cup of Coffee /iRock TV to invest in this show, because yes, it does cost to produce this show. And I would love your support to continue to have these deep conversations that we need to have, that nobody is, I guess, willing to have these tough conversations. I'm willing. I'm ready. I've been in corporate America too long. Support this show and also share this conversation with others so they can hear it. And if you have a story, I'm working on something. We're working on something else. If you want to be a part of this, I guess we can almost call it a movement to eradicate Black on Black career crime. I like that, right? We're going to eradicate this. Email me at irockresumes with an S.com. I would have to say the S because people, did you get my email? No, you forgot to put the S on there probably. Yep, you're right. I forgot the S. irockresumes.com and sign up for my email list. And Stacy says, this was an amazing discussion. Woo, I know it's tough, very sensitive, tough. And I had to almost hold back tears because it hurts when you see this happens to your dear sisters who you know have all the skills that they need to go further. But you, my brother, you, my sister, are telling them, go find you a sponsor. Go find. That's why I'm talking to you. Why can't you be my sponsor? All of this kind of craziness. We got to stop that. Oh, thank you, Melanie. Thank you, girl. That's one of my peers. That's a rock star right there, y'all. Melanie. What's up, sis? Thank you all so much. I'm going to end and go to my end commercial. Join me on all my social media. And plus, my favorite place to hang out is LinkedIn. My long name, Nickquolette Barrett. And also subscribe to the YouTube channel as I have 12 episodes out there for you to watch. And Precious is home. I think you're my number 2. Yes, Precious is on there too. And so I'm going to have these ladies back on their own episodes as well. So please go out there and subscribe to the YouTube channel and get all the tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff and wonderful conversations that we've had on iRock TV. Thank you so much. And you are blessed. Until next time. Bye, ladies.
Bye.